Well, hi folks, and welcome back to the plot. It's been a little while, it's been quite a long time since I did an update, and everything has been pretty bad. I've been having a pretty bad time and a lot of bad days, you know, and today is one of those bad days, to be honest with you, and I thought it would be really good for me actually to come up and try to make a video because it's been such a long time and I really miss it. And one of the things that I love about making videos is that it forces me to kind of see things with a bit of a different eye. And today I kind of want to focus on the positives, you know, because although lots and lots has been going on in the background, you know, and I've been having a really difficult time, this summer, this season, I've really found it quite helpful actually coming to the allotment. And in the past, the allotment has become a bit of a stressor. You know, it's something that when I'm stressed out and when stuff is kicking off, I don't want to think about the allotment. You know, there's more stuff that builds up and builds up the longer that you're away from it. This year, I've been able to flip that on its head a little bit, you know, a lot more kind of little and often, come up as often as I can. And not every day is productive. There's been a couple of days where I've not felt like it. I've forced myself to. I've got here and I still, you know, I still felt like crap. And I just kind of sat around for about 15, 20 minutes and then went, I'm gonna go home now, you know, but I still think that's kind of good. You know, we all have days like that and I think that's fine. But like I say, today I want to try and give you a bit of a tour and I'm hoping it will put me in a bit of a better mood. I know that thinking about the things that I'm going to be showing you in a minute is already starting to improve my mood a little bit. So I really hope you enjoy. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'm going to say that ahead because I do really value all of you actually taking the time to watch and see what's going on. Bed number 1. This is kind of a mega bed. You used to have the paths down the middle and I've turned it into one big bed, absolutely dominated by potato plants. And this is one of those things that I've been kind of overlooking. You know, I'm so used to just seeing this this massive load of potato plants, but they are looking really, really healthy and they've pretty much finished doing their thing. Most of them have flowered and they're not dying back yet, so I'm content to leave them for a little while longer, but there's enough. So I have started taking harvests as I need and I'm going to be taking a few more home today. It's not just potatoes in the bed. I did try and intercrop down here some pak choi and some spinach and that didn't go so well, but that's not the end of the world. The potatoes really just grew up way too big for it. Shaded it out really quickly. I've also got a little line in here of onions and they're not looking too great, but it was probably onion white rot that's doing a bit of damage. I mean, they're looking okay, but they're not really bulbing up. And compared to some of the others that I've got in the bed just next door, just off screen here, they're looking quite sad. So that's not ideal. I do have some carrots in the back. I'll show you. We'll have a look at the carrots. And at the front, you can see I've got a line of calendula, of pot marigold. And this is all from seed that I collected last year from these little seed heads. They are so easy. You just pick the whole thing, pop it in a little container. And then I've gone along and just sprinkled all the seed into this border and it's doing really, really well. This one is one that I grew on in the greenhouse quite early. And you can see just how much bigger and more spectacular it is. But these flowers are just amazing. Maybe next year I'll try and grow a few more different varieties other than just calendula, but it's just such good value and it seems to grow so well in my allotment. Let me show you the carrots at the back. So here at the top of the mega bed, I forgot there is another line of onion in here and they're looking pretty similar to the others, you know, not doing too bad, but not doing too brilliantly either. They're just starting to bulb up. Now's the season, now's the time of year where they really do start to bulb up. So it'd be interesting to see if they do just succumb to rot or not. There's a lovely, absolutely gorgeous little oxalis flower in here. Lovely kind of gentle pink. And that is just one of my favorite weeds. I don't like to weed that too often. There's a little bit here. I treat it more like a kind of, like a ground cover. You know, I just let it do its thing quite a lot. It doesn't really tend to interfere with anything, but the carrots, you can see, not really a line of carrots, more like a kind of group. And that's probably because I kept doing sowings because they just wouldn't germinate. And carrots really are my nemesis on this allotment. They just refuse to germinate. And to be fair, I do try and grow them in the same bit of the bed most years. This is kind of like a nice space for them. I think it takes a while to get warm at the start of spring. So that's what I'm blaming it on, but good news, we do have carrots. So they are definitely putting a smile on my face, but I am having to kind of push back the potatoes a bit and try and stop them from completely taking over. A few months late, but carrots. One thing that has gone really well this year is something I've really struggled with last year, is lettuce plants. And I've kind of left a bit of the border in here for kind of flowers. There's some more calendula, shock, the only flower that's really growing. But I had quite a few lettuce that were planted in here. I've been cropping those and taking them, and it's just wonderful to see. I think because it's so much drier this year, you can see the paths really starting to suffer, and I have actually been watering the beds a lot more than I normally would. But yeah, really nice lettuce plants this year. Oh, there is a snail literally hiding here though. Gotcha. This next bed you can see is my main onion bed, and these are looking much healthier than where I've put them over the rest of the plot. And it's a bit of a mystery with onion white rot. I never really quite know what to do. One of those things you just have to live with. And this is now year 3, might be year 2 actually. But the onions were in here last year, definitely, and they grew pretty well. You know, they seem to like this bed, and this year it's the same thing, doing really well in this bed compared to where, you know, I've put them all over the plot to see, you know, is there anywhere that they'll do really well? And they're doing really well in this bed in particular. And you can see I've intercropped this with the salad plants, the lettuce. I always call them salad plants. They're not salad plants, they're lettuce plants, but you know what I mean. The salads are looking really good. There's a mixture of all year round, and then this is Valmain, which is a kind of cut and come again, but there is more than I can eat. It took a little while, you know, I was a little bit worried. We're really late getting the lettuce and the brassicas going because of the bad batch of compost. So I was really missing it, and I've gone overboard, sown absolutely loads. There's loads in the beds and loads in the greenhouse. You know, we've been harvesting this like crazy. I've been giving it away, and it's just wonderful to finally be cropping stuff, taking harvests. The brassica bed. This is definitely putting quite a big smile on my face. You can see I've done an awful lot of work in here since this was last featured in an episode on the channel. And I do have some issues. There's a bit of, what is this? Wong bok, I think it is. That is a kind of Chinese cabbage that is bolting. I can never seem to grow this style of thing. They never do very well. So let's just have these out. They're covered in flea beetles as well. No surprise. But I have lots of spares in the greenhouse that can take the place of these. But this is probably the most weed-free you're going to see this bed, and the weeds have already started coming. I really do find it a struggle to weed this one when you've got all the netting on. And this is the netting that I did say was maybe too big and the butterflies were going through, but it seems to be doing the job so far. I've just left it. It's really cheap though, and it's brand new, and it's already ripped in like multiple places, so that's a bit rubbish. But hey ho, we've got all sorts of different cabbages. I think there's 4 different kinds. Some have gone in at the right time of year, some have gone in at the wrong time of year. Down the middle, we've mostly got the purple sprouting broccoli, half of which is Sibsey, which is meant to flower kind of September, October. You kind of take an early purple sprouting broccoli harvest. We'll see how it goes. I was really worried because I put these out and it was really hot. It was kind of the wrong time of year. I was quite late getting them in the ground. A little bit worried that they might all get eaten by slugs, but touch wood, so far they're looking mostly okay. So quite a bit of relief. You know, I was worried where it was hot that they would go to seed and bolt, and luckily it was just these few plants that have done that. But hey, this is looking good. It's looking much improved upon how it did it before. Where I was kind of just coming up every now and then and just doing a few little jobs, you know, watering, maybe some sowing, planting a few bits out. This is one of those big jobs that I put off, you know, because the brassica bed did need a lot of work, a lot of stuff to rip out. All the borders needed redoing, and that is kind of one of the reasons I'm really excited to get rid of these paths. It just doesn't work well for me with the netting and stuff going through it and it making it difficult to weed, all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to digging these over next winter. And then this bed, and this part of the plot sort of all starts to go off the rails a little bit, and it goes a little bit crazy. This bed, there's a lot going on in here. First, we've got some failed crops, some failed beetroot, and some failed radish. There's a lettuce in here that's somehow managed to start coming up. And right at the front, there's kind of a patch of flowers. It's mostly calendula, shock. But one that I am really, really happy to see is this, which is a kind of vetch. Not sure specifically which one, and I think this is one of the ones I sowed as a winter cover crop. Taken a little while to germinate. It was meant to germinate in September last year, but here we are. This is gorgeous. So I'm just kind of leaving it to do its thing. And we have the worst row of onions. These look pretty much just like they've done nothing since they went in. But you know, like I say, putting onions everywhere was a bit of an experiment. Apparently they don't like this bed. Not sure why. The chard behind me still going, 7 pushing 8 feet tall. And it's been absolutely covered in hoverflies and all sorts of insects. So I'm just leaving this one to go as long as it wants to. I don't mind it being there. But this is going to become kind of courgettes and squashes. Already I've got a butternut squash plant just in here. This is looking really healthy. I planted it out just 2 days ago and it seems to be doing really well. There's another butternut squash back here and a courgette plant back there. I will be honest, I didn't grow this courgette plant from seed. And there's one just over there. I'm not sure if that's in the shot, but I didn't grow that one from seed either. I nicked both of those off my dad and they are doing really well. We started cropping little courgettes, which is just really wonderful. You know, courgettes are a real sign of summer for me. So this bed, not looking like much at the moment. It's not done much to date, but butternut squash are in now and they are one of my favorite things to grow. Now this is a great one, and this is a really busy bed. There is absolutely loads of stuff going on in here. The main thing, obviously, is the peas. And these have been a bit of a mixed success, really. I've started taking a really nice crop. They are so delicious. One of my favourite things to grow. I can't believe that I neglected them for so long. My first year of growing peas, didn't really get it, you know. I just thought, well, frozen peas, you know, it's all I've really eaten. And they're nothing special, are they? But these are very, very special. They're so, so sweet. And like I say, mixed success. They haven't gotten as tall as maybe they should have done. There's maybe something going on. The peas that I planted in here, just rubbish, absolutely rubbish. And this is a mixture. These ones were mostly direct sown. These ones were transplanted from root trainers. And these ones at the back were transplanted from root trainers. They did really well early. They've given me the biggest flash. And these are mostly over now. Middle ones, a little bit slower. So it's really nice. I've had a good succession. And I can just always come over here and snack on some peas. It's no exaggeration to say these haven't made it home, but yeah, I would have liked to have a much bigger crop. At the back as well, I tried a main crop and that just didn't work. You can see I set up all the netting and I was hoping that would be full of pea plant, but unfortunately not. Most of those that were direct sown got nibbled by slugs. You could just see these tiny little stumps, and there's 1 or 2 plants in there that have survived, but I'm not really expecting anything from there. But as well, it's not just peas. We've got a little onion trawl back here. Rubbish, absolutely rubbish. Doing not much at all, especially compared to the other onion bed. And where I've started to take out the pea plants, I've started to put in some cucumbers because hopefully these will trail up this structure that does need us. It's looking pretty ramshackle. I've just got like blackberry cuttings and bits of bamboo and everything. Doesn't look too great, but you know, it does the job. That's the main thing. These cucumbers went in a little bit later. In fact, probably about a week ago, and they're looking really, really healthy. Down here, there's a cucumber that went in best part of a month ago, and a courgette that went in the best part of a month ago that are looking really sad. So I'm not sure if it was a little bit early for them. They might recover, but they've just been doing nothing really, so I'm not holding out too much hope. At the back, there's another gorgeous looking cucumber. That one is doing really, really well. And as well, there's a perennial cabbage. I think it might be a tree cabbage or something like that. And that's looking pretty healthy too. I'm a little bit nervous about how big that's gonna get, and I'm keeping my eye on it, looking for pests, but hopefully that will be quite a cool plant. Behind me as well, the apple tree, looking like a really good year for the apples. Very exciting. Let's have a little look in the greenhouse, because there's one big thing to talk about, one kind of big failure, I guess. Yeah, let's get in the greenhouse. Last year, this greenhouse, by the 1st of June, around the 1st of June anyway, was all just pepper plants. So it's now towards the end of June. My pepper plants are still at home and they are still in 2.5 litre pots. The plan was to get these all potted on into their final pots, at least by the start of June. And even that would have been a little bit later than I would have liked. We're here now, it's the end of June, they're still in small pots, they're still not in the greenhouse, and I think now it's a bit late for me to be putting them into massive, massive pots, because they'll put all the energy into, you know, growing their leaves, and they won't have time to fruit properly by the end of the season. So the decision I've made, sort of a failure, you know, sort of a bitter pill to swallow, is to just leave them all in 2.5 litre pots. I think it's the right thing to do, because potting all of these plants on, there are so many at home, I'll show you some clips, there's loads at home, and it takes a really, really long time. I don't have a nice setup, I'm normally crouched over, like, you know, potting up for hours and hours. So I'm just going to leave them 2.5 litre pots, and they are mostly going to come up to the greenhouse, but if I feed them quite heavily, I should still get some decent crops, and you can get surprisingly big plants from a small pot. You know, these are much, much smaller than the ones at home. I'm not sure why, what's caused that, but you know, for whatever reason, the ones at home are doing really, really well. So I'll be bringing them up soon, once most of this stuff is out. Let me show you what most of this stuff is. This down here is just some kind of spare successional brassicas and some lettuce leaves that definitely got a bit hot in here at some point or other. Back here, really, really cool, are some of my melon plants. First, you're trying melons. This one is a Charentes, and you can see this one is in need of some staking, maybe potting up. And here there is just an absolute sea of lettuce. These are probably all ready to go out. If they're in pots for much longer, they'll start getting a bit sad. There's some spare purple spring broccoli, a little bit of basil at the back. This is absolutely amazing. A strawberry pot in which a single lettuce seed landed and it's grown into a full lettuce. That one is absolutely loving life. More brassicas down here, and a little nice tray of salads as well. These look really good. Quite happy with those. And then on the shelves, there's not much on here. Most of this stuff can now go out. This is all courgettes, kind of bonbon squash. There's some butternut squashes, spare butternut squashes, little pot of leeks. And that's pretty much it. You know, there's a few different varieties, and they are all probably ready to go out, you know, any minute now. Hopefully in a week's time, this lot will all be gone, and I'll have another quad grow down here. And in fact, you know what, I've only just thought, that's autopilot. That was the old plan, was to have the quad grow in here with chili peppers. I might still do that, even though it's quite late. I don't know. I think it makes sense to probably use that space with one of the quad grows that I've got. I don't have any spare tomato plants that I could put in, but the tomato plants are doing pretty well. They're looking a little pale. I might give them a little bit of a kind of Epsom salt foliar spray, because they are looking a little anemic, but we've got 4 different varieties. These are all different tomatoes, and they're not strung up particularly elegantly. Just a couple of canes with a bit of wire between the canes to hold them together, but it does the job for now. And they're a little way from hitting the ceiling yet, and the first few tomatoes are starting to form. What is that one? That's a Crimson Crush on there. And down here, what's this one? This is a pineapple. Just starting to get some nice looking big uns on there. Very exciting. So there we go. That's just about everything. There's actually a few videos that I recorded weeks back before everything went upside down. So it's going to be a little while probably until there's another plot update, but there will hopefully be a couple of videos about little things that I've got on the go. The auto vent, which is now installed. I'll leave the video to talk about that. And there's some interesting stuff going on at the back of the plot. I've got to go quick because the battery's about to die, but thank you ever so much for watching. I really, really do mean that. And if you're watching on Sunday, please do join us for Monday night's live stream over on Tony C. Smith's channel. I'll put a link in the description. That live stream is just one of my favourite things. I've learned so much from those guys, and it's just a really, really good laugh. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again